All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Okay, welcome back to All in Missouri, All in Mizzou. My name's Davis Wilson, here with Rogue Media, doing my daily Mizzou show here. Mizzou every day is what we're doing here at All in Mizzou. Monday through Friday, that is. I took the weekend off. Missouri beat up on UMass 42-6. Did not cover the spread of 42.5 or whatever it ended up being, but they did get the win. Honestly, not too much to take away from this game, but we will look into it in a little bit. We're also going to talk some SEC things, SEC updates. A big week in the SEC. Maybe the biggest week so far for the conference. We'll talk that. We'll do our power rankings. We'll do our stats. And then I'll talk about Missouri's 42-6 win over UMass and some of my takeaways from the game. Let's get into the SEC business. We'll start it off here with the AP poll update. Missouri, after its win, moves up one spot to number 19 in the country. Missouri is one of 10 teams, 10 SEC teams, to find itself in the AP poll. The other teams: number 4, Ole Miss; number 5, Oklahoma; number 6, Texas A&M; number 9, Texas; number 10, Alabama; number 12, Georgia; number 13, LSU; number 15, Tennessee; number 16, Vanderbilt; and then number 19, Missouri. You also have Mississippi State getting the third most, also receiving votes, so that would mean they're 28th in the AP poll. So just outside of the top 25 for Mississippi State. After an encouraging week for them that we'll talk about in a second. But first, the first SEC coach has been fired. It took 5 weeks for Arkansas to decide to part ways with Sam Pittman, a move that I could have seen coming from the beginning of the year. Frankly, I'm surprised he's stuck around this long at Arkansas. Early on in his tenure, he had some good moments, but he's gone. And to me, the writing here was kind of on the wall when Arkansas brings in Bobby Petrino, Arkansas's old head coach, who leaves kind of in disgrace. They bring him in, and to me, it's like, okay, they're setting this thing up for Petrino. I don't know if that's the case, but Petrino is the interim guy for the rest of the year. And, man, he just fired the entire defensive staff. He is not messing around as the interim. Fired a bunch of people, and we'll see. I can't imagine this thing gets too much better for Arkansas this year, but it can't get much worse. That's the thing. Sam Pittman came to Arkansas in 2020, which I believe was the same year that, it was the same year Drinkwitz got to Missouri, and there was all sorts of, who's better here. And I lose no joy in reporting that Drinkwitz is the better football coach. It's clear now. And, but like I said, Pittman had a few moments in 2021. Arkansas finished 9-4, had a high AP poll ranking of number 8. So there you go. 2022, they finished 7-6, had a high AP poll of number 10. And since then, it's been 4-8, 7-6, and 2-3 for Sam Pittman, who no longer has a job. This comes after a beatdown, a true beatdown of Arkansas by Notre Dame at Arkansas. Notre Dame, a team that lost to an SEC school already in Texas A&M. They go to Arkansas, and my goodness, 56-13. Man, 643 total yards for Notre Dame. For those of you who don't know much about football, that's really bad. Really bad. We'll talk about that more in a second. But back to the coaching thing for Arkansas here. So I was looking around at some websites, seeing who people thought could maybe be a candidate for them. There's a couple that make sense to me. Bobby Petrino, they just keep him. I always thought that was kind of what was going to happen when they hired him. Like I said, we'll see. Rhett Lashley, the head coach at SMU, was a Arkansas quarterback back in the day. The question is, how much of a better job is Arkansas than SMU right now? And I know that sounds crazy to say, but Rhett Lashley's got a decent situation at SMU, got a lot of money. SMU's not going to lose a money fight. So it's going to come down to whether Lashley thinks he can do better at Arkansas than he can at SMU. And that's an interesting discussion to have. We'll see there. John Summerall, the head coach for Tulane, he's been rumored to be taking an SEC job after this year. He's a Kentucky guy, but Kentucky still has a head coach at this moment, and Arkansas doesn't. So maybe you've got that there. Jeff Traylor from UTSA, the head coach at UTSA, seems like he's been in line for a promotion for years now. I think he was an Arkansas running backs coach at one point. This would be a pretty interesting hire for me. And then some others I saw, which would be kind of more fun, were Dan Mullen returning to the SEC after getting fired from Florida, and now he's at UNLV. Gus Malzahn, who was Arkansas's head coach for a long time, obviously, and this would be also pretty interesting. He's now an offensive coordinator at Florida State. There are a couple of options here. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what the coaching landscape thinks about this Arkansas job, because there hasn't been much success at all in the last the last time they won double-digit games was 2011. And that was with none other than Bobby Petrino. So just keep him on. That's what I say. It's too much fun not to keep him on. But really, yeah, I mean, Arkansas has been mediocre to bad for the last, 13, 14 years. So we'll see what these people think. One other candidate that I think is probably unrealistic, but one I had to mention just because I thought of it and it could be really funny. This would be in a scenario that would play out a lot like Arkansas's basketball head coaching search played out, where they end up missing on a lot of guys they want and then just throwing a bunch of money at a guy who's at a legend, a sitting coach legend at another school that maybe wants to move on. Calipari at Kentucky. I'm thinking Dabo at Clemson, maybe. I don't know. Could be interesting there. All right. That's enough about Arkansas and their sad situation. I have some Arkansas fan friends, and I feel bad for them. Football team needs some work, and maybe they can hire the right guy this time. Okay, let's get into the SEC recap of Week 5. Some big wins, some big losses for teams. I'll start with my big winners of the week in the SEC. Alabama is the biggest winner for me. They go to Georgia and beat Georgia 24-21. Ty Simpson looks great. I think Alabama has a case now as the best team in the SEC, and we'll see where I put them here in my power rankings in a second. But this was a game Georgia definitely didn't want to lose. Georgia lost to Alabama last year, and Now they're at home. They got to defend their home, and Alabama takes care. Georgia's kryptonite continues to be Alabama regardless of who's coaching. Kalen DeBoer, another big win last year. At this same time last year, they beat Georgia at home and then had a bye. And then, or no, they didn't have a bye, I don't think. They beat Georgia at home and then played none other than the Vanderbilt Commodores, which is exactly what's happening now, next week. Alabama last year fell flat after a big win against Georgia, lost to Vanderbilt. Do we see the same thing happen again this year? I don't know. I think there's a good chance. Vanderbilt's really good. My other big winner is Ole Miss. I watched all of this game, and I watched it with some LSU people, and it was a bummer. They were sad about it. It was LSU. No, let's talk about Ole Miss. They're my winner. Ole Miss shut LSU down. I don't know if that's because LSU's offense is bad or if Ole Miss's defense played really well. But Trinidad Chambliss I think he's making an entrance here into the Heisman arena. He had a great game, 314 yards, 23 of 39, a touchdown and interception. Pretty good, right? He also rushed for 71 yards. Kejuan Lacey, Missouri's old friend, rushed for 87 yards and a score. And this LSU defense is very good. And Ole Miss accumulated 484 yards on the game. LSU totaled 256 yards. So Ole Miss's defense steps up. This is a big home game. Lane Kiffin in full Lane Kiffin mode with Whit Weeks and his daughter dating, and that whole storyline is very fun. And Lane Kiffin gets a signature win, moves to 5-0 overall, 3-0 in the SEC. Big win. My losers. I'll start with LSU here. This offense doesn't look good at all. They have no identity. They can't run the ball. They ran for 59 yards. Garrett Nussmeier doesn't look like Garrett Nussmeier should look at this point. I don't know if he's banged up a little bit or if the offense is bad or if the receivers can't get open. I don't know. But it's not looking good for that offense in Baton Rouge. And to the delight of Missouri fans, like I said, Trinidad Chambliss ran for 70 yards. It's a familiar thing here with Blake Baker. As good as a defensive coordinator as I think he is, he can't get it done against a mobile quarterback. And now you're 4-1, and you'd think the sky is falling the way some people are talking about LSU, but they're 4-1, 1-1 in the SEC. It's not over by any means, but they got a lot to figure out. I think they're off this week. Then they have South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Alabama. So a tough stretch coming up for LSU. My other loser of this week was Auburn. Man, Auburn had a chance to win this game. A&M should have won this game by many more points than they did. It ended up being 16-10 at A&M. Auburn had chances, but Jackson Arnold, I just don't think he's very good. I don't know. They can't protect him, that's for sure. That's not helping him. Last week, Auburn was sacked 10 times by Oklahoma. This week, they were sacked 4 times by Texas A&M. Arnold was 18 of 33, 125 yards. Nothing else. That's it. Didn't run the ball well either. 15 carries for 11 yards and a touchdown. So they're a loser for me. They're now 3-2 overall, 0-2 in the SEC. And that is it's a talented roster, and they're just not getting it done right now. Okay, what else happened this week? Like I said, Alabama goes to Georgia, beats Georgia. Ty Simpson throws for 276 yards and 2 touchdowns. Georgia's defense, not the same Georgia defense we've become accustomed to. I don't think. Maybe not the same Georgia team we've become accustomed to. They look beatable, but Alabama is good. I think Georgia is also very good. This was a close game. Honestly, not a super exciting game, but a close game. Alabama gets it done. Next up, Tennessee and Mississippi State. Tennessee goes to Mississippi State, finds a way to win in overtime, 41-34. Joey Aguilar threw 2 picks, but he also threw for 335 yards. And Mississippi State, 4-1, probably should have won this game. I mean, they're not bad. That's not a bad team. And now all of a sudden, one of those teams that you thought was going to be easier for Missouri is looking pretty good. Missouri plays Mississippi State later on in the year, but Tennessee gets it done. They moved to 4-1 overall, 1-1 in the SEC. But I think there's something here for Mississippi State. They've got an opportunity here this week against Texas A&M in College Station at nighttime. That'll be a tough environment, but we'll see. We'll see. Mississippi State is not the same old, doormat of the SEC that we've gotten accustomed to them being in the last couple of years. Speaking of Mississippi State, Dak Prescott, my quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, played pretty well last night. Former Bulldog. Man, there should not be ties in American football. Can I just say that? I mean, this is the most European part of America. We're tying? Really? What's wrong with doing one more overtime period? Or what's wrong with making overtime more like college, where you start at, well, not the new college. I don't really like the 2-point conversion thing, but what about you start at the 25 and you go until you win? I don't know why we have a 10-minute timer. I don't know why there are ties. This shouldn't have been a tie. Cowboys had opportunities to win. This isn't a Dallas Cowboys podcast, but shout out Dak Prescott, made some big throws in that game. Okay, back to college football. Vanderbilt beats Utah State at home. This one was looking a little dicey for a bit, but Vanderbilt scores 24 in the second quarter, 17 in the third quarter, end up winning this game 55-35. And Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt's quarterback, you might be looking at the Heisman favorite right now. Is that possible? Threw for 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 26 of 34 passing for 321 yards. Man, Vanderbilt, a really good team. They give up 393 yards to Utah State, though. A Utah State Aggies team that lost to Texas A&M, has wins over Air Force, McNeese, and UTEP. But Vanderbilt undefeated, and they've got a massive showdown with Alabama next week at Alabama. There you go. All right, Missouri beats UMass. We'll talk about that later. Arkansas falls to Notre Dame. Good God. Notre Dame's good, but man, 56-13. Notre Dame runs the score up here. Like I said, Arkansas allows 643 yards. This is one of the worst defenses in the country right now. And all their defensive coaches just got fired. So I don't know how this is going to get any better. Taylor Green is contained as much as you can contain Taylor Green. He throws for 207 yards and an interception. Also ran for 81 yards. Man, all right. We got to get moving here. We got to get to talking about Missouri. Last game, Kentucky at South Carolina. This was also a little dicey for a while. A little bit. But South Carolina bounces back after a loss to Missouri, beats Kentucky 35-13. And but this was a close game for a while. I mean, in the first quarter, it's 10-7 South Carolina, and then within 2 minutes of each other, you have a South Carolina fumble 6 and a South Carolina pick 6. So that's 2 touchdowns that South Carolina's defense accounted for, which means if you take those out, South Carolina only scored 21 points. This offense is still concerning for me. I'm not sure what the hell is going on. Lenora Sellers only threw it 14 times, 153 yards, 11 of 14, also ran for 81 yards. So better there. Seth McGowan of Kentucky ran for 112 yards and a touchdown. Kentucky's just not very good. What can I say? They're just not very good. They're terrible, actually. I'll go as far to say they're terrible. Okay, let's get into my power rankings for this week. We've got some movement here at the top, but no movement at the bottom. My bottom stays the same. At number 16, I have Kentucky. They were 16 last week in my rankings. They play Georgia at Georgia this week. Number 15 is Arkansas. If Kentucky didn't exist, Arkansas would be the worst team in this conference. A terrible loss, really, really rough. And now they are down one head coach already this season, just 5 weeks in. They were 15th last week. They stay the same. Florida also stays the same at 14. Didn't play. They played Texas this week, a very big game for both those schools. Both those schools need something. They need some juice here. They need an SEC win. I think Texas should win, but Billy Napier might be coaching for his job on Saturday, so we'll see. At number 13, I have South Carolina. They were 12th last week. They drop a spot here. Didn't think they looked that great against Kentucky. And this is really more so about a jump from Mississippi State. But South Carolina is on a bye this week. I think they're going to continue to kind of put this together a little bit. Still don't love what I'm seeing on offense, but they have a bye. Then they have a pretty tough slate against some really tough defenses: LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M is their slate of games here. My goodness. Good luck, South Carolina. Godspeed. At number 11, I have Auburn. At number 12, I have Auburn. They were 11th last week. Just another disappointing loss. They're pretty close now to being 2-0 in SEC play. Instead, they're 0-2. They're just not very good. I don't know what to say here. They're Hugh Freeze. I imagine his seat is getting a little bit warmer as the weeks go by. Number 11, a big jump here. They were 13th last week. Mississippi State, they lost, but they looked good doing it, and they should have won in overtime here. Fluff Bothwell, their running back, had a nice game, 23 carries for 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mississippi State goes to Texas A&M on Saturday night. That'll be a tough one. At number 10, I have LSU, who is number 6 in last week's rankings. They fall after a really unfortunate loss to Ole Miss. Didn't look good at all. That offense has some real problems, and the defense can only do so much for them. Okay, next up, and they're on a bye this week, by the way. Texas at number 9. They were number 10 last week. They move up just because someone had to with LSU moving down. I need to see something for Texas. This is a good opportunity, although I don't think Florida's very good. Clearly, they're 14th in my power rankings. But a win on the road at the Swamp is a good win no matter what Florida team you're playing. And that is an environment that is going to test Arch Manning. And I'd love to see him have a nice game. And if he does, they'll move up. Number 8, I have Oklahoma. And there's no reason for this except for the fact that their quarterback just had surgery on his hand. He broke a bone in his hand. Michael Hawkins comes in. They were on a bye. They play Kent State this week. Really, it's just because, I don't know, John Mateer was that whole offense. And now without him, Michael Hawkins is a good player. But, it's going to be interesting. I think they obviously will handle Kent State, but then it's Texas, and that is where things will get interesting for Michael Hawkins. And that Oklahoma offense. Oklahoma's defense obviously still very good. All right, number 7. Staying in number 7, I have Vanderbilt. Like I said, defense wasn't very good this week against Utah State, but Pavia was very good. Very good. Good Lord, I got to get going here. I'm taking too much time on the SEC. We got Missouri to talk about. I'll try to speed up here. Pavia looked good. 5 touchdowns. A Heisman front runner, I would say. One of them at least. They got Bama on the road next week. And that game is at 2:30 on ABC. Prime time. All right, number 6, I have Missouri. Missouri moves down a spot. I'll talk about it in a second. A little bit underwhelmed against UMass. They won 42-6, but the Tigers didn't look that great. Well, they look great, but not that great. Not as great as I expected them to against a UMass team that is terrible. All right, number 5, Texas A&M was number 3 last week, and they didn't really do anything to deserve moving down 2 spots, honestly. They beat Auburn, I think is a decent team. I don't know. They didn't look great, though. The offense struggled here, had chances to score more than they did. Yeah, I don't know. I still think they're very good, and they're a likely playoff team, but they're number 5 this week. Number 4, I have Tennessee. Tennessee had a battle. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to flip Tennessee and Texas A&M. Let's do it. Let's do it on the fly here. Texas A&M is 4. Tennessee is 5. They were number 2 last week. They battled with Mississippi State. I don't think Mississippi State's bad, but they got a road win. Tennessee did. That's always important in the SEC, no matter who you're playing. Okay, Tennessee's on a bye this week. Georgia, number 3. They were number 1 last week. They lost to Alabama. We've talked about it already. I still think Georgia's great, but someone had to move down because Ole Miss enters the chat here. Number 2, Ole Miss, coming all the way up from number 9 in my last week's rankings. They look very good against LSU. Offense is able to move a little bit here against a very good LSU defense. And number 1, I have Alabama, the best win of the week against Georgia at Georgia. Really, really good stuff from Alabama. They are responding well to a very disappointing week 1 loss to Florida State. Okay, enough of that. Enough of this. Let's get to Missouri here. Oh, I have SEC stat leaders. I don't even want to do this, really. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. I'll tell you, Bo Perbula is 5th in SEC passing yards. Ahmad Hardy is 1st in rushing yards. Ahmad Hardy, after contact, is 2nd in rushing yards. So Ahmad Hardy has 730 rushing yards on the year. He has 544 yards after contact. That is good enough for 2nd in the SEC. Kewan Lacey is 3rd with 445. In receiving yards, after a really nice week, Kevin Coleman moves up to number 4. Kevin Coleman Jr. has 386 yards on the year. Okay, enough. Let's talk about UMass a little bit here. And obviously, you know how I do things here. I'll just do a brief little chat about this game. And tomorrow I'll get more in depth about the offense. And on Wednesday, I'll talk more about the defense. But just general takeaways here. Ahmad Hardy, my goal for him was to stay healthy and run for 100 yards, just because I think that keeps his stats looking very good. And I think there's a chance this guy can make a Heisman run. I don't know. But he actually gets banged up a little bit. At that point, I say just sit him. I don't care. But they don't sit him. They send him back out there. He runs for 24. He runs the ball 24 times for 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. His 2nd career game, I think, with 3 touchdowns. I mean, you expect this against UMass, right? Like, UMass isn't good defensively, but he didn't play much of the game, honestly. He played some of the 3rd quarter, and then that was it for him. Jamal Roberts had 6 carries for 51 yards and a touchdown. Marquise Davis kind of came in relief for Hardy in the second half, had 9 carries for 77 yards. He's a true freshman. He looks good. And finally, I get to talk about him. This is my guy. I like him because he's from Texas. He committed to Missouri when I was, I think, a freshman, and I thought it was cool that Missouri had a 4-star Texas running back coming up. Tavoris Jones from El Paso, Texas. Finally, his first career touchdown as a Tiger. He's like a redshirt junior now. 4 carries, 24 yards, a touchdown. Also had a really nice catch along the sideline that kept Bo Pribula's record-breaking day intact. I'll talk about that in a second. But shout out to Vorce Jones. Could have transferred a long time ago, but he's still working for Missouri. Missouri rushed for 268 yards as a football team. They continue to just really, really pound the ground game. And I think Alabama, as good as they've been, has struggled a little bit against the run. So that is an area where I think Missouri has an advantage. Obviously, we've got a while till that Alabama game, so don't need to worry about that now. But that's that. All right, Bo Pribula was very accurate. 26 of 29 passing for 241 yards, a touchdown and an interception. He broke Chase Daniel's record for most consecutive completions in a game, which I think was 21. I should know. Chase Daniels, Southlake, Texas legend, record broken by Bo Pribula. And he threw an interception. It's his third straight game with an interception. I will say he climbed, the interception looked terrible. Really, though, he got his arm kind of ticked at the line. The defensive lineman hit his arm at the line of scrimmage, and the ball came out bad. But he came up in the pocket too much. Probably wasn't a great decision either way. That's now his third interception on the year. But overall, very accurate. Got it done. Okay, like I said, Kevin Coleman, really nice game after not being super involved against South Carolina, if I'm remembering correctly. Is that right? Or am I thinking of the Louisiana game? One moment, everybody. Yeah, Kevin Coleman only 3 catches for 20 yards last week against South Carolina. This week, it's pretty clear that he was the game plan in the passing game. He had 12 catches for 108. 12 catches. I think like 9 of them were in the first half, something nuts. Brett Norfleet had 6 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other guys had at least 1 catch. Yeah, Matt Zollers got in. He was 1 for 1 for 12 yards. I'll be honest here. I think I'm done. I mean, in these blowout games, unless Bo gets hurt, if Bo gets hurt at some point, then you could play Matt Zollers. But if you're going to bring Matt Zollers in and just have him hand the ball off, and he's kind of throwing away these, I mean, you have 4 games you can play, and then your 5th game you burn your red shirt. So if you're going to burn his red shirt, I say let him throw it around a little bit. But he just hands it off a bunch. He was 1 for 1 though. Yeah, if you're going to hand the ball off, just put Tommy Locke in. The cousin of Drew Locke got his first playing time as a Missouri Tiger. I think he's a walk-on. He was 0 for 1. So just put Tommy in there. Let him hand it off. We don't need to waste Matt Zoller's redshirt game. What else can I say? Demarion Fulks, another true freshman. I believe he and Marquise Davis are both out of Ohio, I think. Yes. No, I'm wrong. Maryland. Man, I really thought he was from Ohio. What am I thinking of? Anyway, 4-star recruit in last year's class. He looked great. He had a couple really nice returns. I don't think he caught a pass, but had some very nice returns. You're seeing a lot of these true freshmen, regardless if it's garbage time or not. Like Alubade has shined a little bit this year. Marquise Davis, Demarion Fulks now. Like you got some guys there on the offensive ball that I'm glad are getting opportunities to play. The offensive line, something I did not expect after a really nice week against South Carolina. I think this offensive line really struggled. UMass, I think, had 3 total sacks heading into this game. They end the game with 4. I'll have to watch the film. I'll talk about it more tomorrow, but something went wrong here. I really don't think Javen Richardson, who's filling in for Caden Green, I'm not sure he played very, very well, but I mean, the whole offensive line looked really, at times, outmatched by a team they should never be looking outmatched by. Really couldn't keep the guys off Bo, couldn't give them a clean pocket enough. And you got 2 weeks now to figure it out before Alabama comes to town. And when Alabama comes to town, I don't know if you're going to have Caden Green back yet. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not, I would say. But you never know. Defensively, man, this front seven is still really good. It is really, really good. Is carrying this defense. Missouri allows 124 yards, 19 yards rushing, 105 passing. And these defensive linemen are good. They're just really good. I talk about it all the time, but this is the strength of this defense outside of the running game on offense. This is the strength of this team. Zion Young, Khalil Jacobs, Chris McClellan, Darius Smith. All these guys had a nice game. Elias Williams, you don't see too much out there, but he had a tackle for loss. Really nice work again. And, I'm getting excited about another true freshman. Dante McClellan had a pass breakup. He had a pick 6 in the Central Arkansas game. He's an exciting player, isn't he? I think he's pretty exciting. So, yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see. The secondary still is having some issues. And you look at the stats that UMass finishes with, it doesn't look that good. They only allowed 105 passing yards. But there was just moments where it broke down, and that cannot happen against Ty Simpson and Alabama in 2 weeks, or they will really exploit you. But those are kind of my thoughts here. It's just you should win this game. They won this game. There you go. You move on. You go to the bye week with a lot you can work on. I will be back tomorrow to talk about what I see. I'm going to rewatch the offense tomorrow. I'm going to talk about what I see. Bring my buddy the new whiteboard out, which I've gotten some nice feedback on. We like him, this whiteboard. So we'll bring him out tomorrow. We'll talk about Missouri's offense against UMass. And then we'll do the same thing with the defense on Wednesday. And after that, things will get weird because it's a bye week. I've never had to do this during a bye week. So it may not be daily, but I will keep doing these shows for sure. All right. I think that's all I have for you guys. One more thing. One more thing I have here. I wanted to go through some team stats here. Nationally, not just the SEC. Missouri is the second best third down defense in the country. Okay, let's keep it moving. Missouri is the second best third down offense in the country. Pretty good. Pretty good. Missouri has the third best completion percentage in the country. Missouri is the 10th best first down defense in the country. You're seeing a theme here, I believe. Overall offense, they're fourth. Overall defense, they're first. Rushing yards, they're second. The stats will tell you this is a really good team. One more stat I saw on Twitter. Outside of an 84-yard garbage time run by Louisiana, that was 2 weeks ago, you remember. Missouri is allowing 18.5 rushing yards per game. I guess in the last 4 games. That is 0.94 yards per carry. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I mean, you can stop the run and you can run. They're going to have a chance to beat Alabama, or Auburn, Oklahoma. They're going to have a chance to beat every team left on their schedule. It's just going to come down to, can they put it all together? Can they figure it out on the offensive line? Can they figure it out in the secondary? We'll see. Come back tomorrow. I'm going to talk about Missouri's offense. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe. Do all the things. I appreciate everybody for joining me today. Happy Monday. Have a great week. I'll see you tomorrow.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.